Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to an episode of Tank Talks Movies. And it's Friday the 13th. So, I thought we'll do Friday the 13th, Part 2. The movie starts off with a look that we all know and remember. Pretty much the ending of the first movie. You know what happens there. Then we cut for like a couple years later with the woman who had to fight Jason's mother, Mrs. Ortiz, and won. She is having nightmares of the incident. Then, a whole bunch of other jargon happens. She opens up her refrigerator and sees the severed head of Mrs. Voorhees, and then, out of nowhere, we see an ice pick get stabbed into the side of her head. So officially, folks, the woman from the very first movie did get killed. That survived in the first movie. Try to think that out. Okay. Now, another couple years later goes by, or maybe a couple days later. Probably a couple days later. We got these... Okay, they're supposed to be, like, teenagers, but they all look like they're in their early 20s. 20, max 18. Looking. They're going through the... We got two of them. They're going to meet a friend up to go and work at another camp. It's not Camp Crystal Lake. It's a different camp, but it's like a few miles away from Camp Crystal Lake, or Camp Blood, that people call it. Okay, they're going. They find a phone booth. They have to call their buddy to let them know that they're there. All of a sudden, unopposed to them, they don't know that their buddy knows that they're already in town and playing a trick on them. One of his friends is a guy who has a tow truck, and he starts towing away his buddy's pickup truck. So he's chasing down his truck, and all of a sudden they see their friend and all this good stuff, and they're having a good time, and he kind of bitches them out a little bit, but not. Alright. They get to the camp. They got a few other people there. We got this guy named Scott, who's pretty much, he's just the guy who wants to get laid, but, he's just trying too hard. He must, other girls probably did fall for his stuff, but the girl he kind of does want to get with is not falling for any of it, pretty much. He's grabbed a stick that looks like a slingshot, puts a rubber band on it, and flicks it at this girl, and hits her right on the butt, and she's wearing some really short shorts, and you just see like kind of the bottom of her butt and stuff like that. It's funny. Alright, guys. There's their camp leader, counselor leader guy who's there, and he's trying to tell all these different people that they're, like, camp, being counselors isn't the best thing during the summer that you would want to do, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that, all that good silliness. And then, like, I have to say, his love interest shows up. Her name's Jeannie. Jenny, yeah, it's one of them. One more. Excuse me. I'm sorry. And she's got this bug, and her vehicle's a bug, and it's just like it's probably on its last leg. So those two, go and start talking and all this stuff. They just have like all this, like they were together at one. I have to say they were probably together at one point. Then they haven't seen each other in a long time, and then that tension was there. You know what I mean? Okay. There's also a scene where the two kids from the beginning of the movie that I told you about, you know, where the guy who got his truck towed, they want his girlfriend wants to see what Camp Crystal Lake is like, and you know they just want to see it. You know, go back to the town and say that they were at Camp Blood or something like that. So they do, and they start walking, and you know the camera angles zoom, looking like there's somebody watching them and all that stuff. All of a sudden they're about to go in, and all of a sudden a cop stops them and says, "What do you guys think you're doing?" Then you know the cop talks to the camp counselor, who's just all like unfazed with this stuff and all that. Then we have a guy in a wheelchair. He seems like one of the nicer guys there. He was an athlete that was in a motorcycle accident, and he's paralyzed from the back, legs down, you know. And there's a girl there that's digging him, you know. She's pretty cute and all, and then they try to help out and everything, stuff like that. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. There's a few other scenes in this movie. This movie's a little dated for the, well, guys, it's 2017. This was probably made in the early 80s. Cool. Yeah, 80s. And just, you know, all these deals, you know, we barely see Jason until like, well, we see Jason kill. We don't see like his face or the infamous pillowcase in this movie. He has like a bag on his head that he pretty much covers. It has this one eye hole, and yeah, this movie is, I'd say, it's pretty good, guys. I'd recommend it if I was you. Just, it's not the best Friday the 13th movie, but it's not the worst either. It's in between. Now, just some of the characters in this movie are just silly. I told you about this Scott guy, I think his name was. He's constantly flirting with one of these girls, and she's not really having it, and the counselors are all like saying, okay, we're gonna, like the head counselor guy is like, okay, we're going to have one big hurrah before all the like kids show up or something like that. So you can go out to have a night out in the town. A few of them go out and have a night out in town, and it's like the main guy, not the main guy, but the boss guy, the female protagonist that survives the movie, and the weird, nerdy, dorky guy, and a whole bunch of other people. They go, you know, they're just having a couple drinks. Then we cut back to the cabin, and the guy in the wheelchair is just arm wrestling people, and he's just dropping them, just like boom. He's tough. He's got big upper body strength, and he pretty much he's beating the guy. This guy named Jeff. He's the guy I told you about in the beginning of the movie where he got his truck towed. His girlfriend comes up to him and says, "Hey Jeff, I have another way. If you wanted to wrestle, meet me in the bedroom. Blah 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 blah. Let's goes and this girl who wants to get with this other guy who's in the wheelchair, and he's willing. He's ready, willing, and I believe he's able enough. He says he's able, so. And then they start playing this hockey video game thing that, you know, they hand it off to each other. And they pretty much say, what does the winner get? And the girl goes, position. Do I say more? Alright. Okay, they start making out, all that stuff, and then they're trying to figure out which cabin to go into, but they're both bunking with people, so they're like, the girl's like, let me just put some different clothes on or something like that, and we'll find our own cabin. All that stuff. So, in the process of this, these guys are going to get ready to, you know, do the deed. And out of nowhere, this poor guy in a wheelchair who swear that isn't the one that does anything. Like, he doesn't do drugs, looks like he barely drank. And he's the one that takes the machete to the face. Yeah, she starts tumbling down some stairs, etc., etc. Then, the girl who's like, she's like changing, putting like different clothes on, all that stuff. I don't know why she picked brown panties. It's the color of duty. Whatever. So she's spraying like perfume on her, like she likes it, like, you know, she does this thing, goes like that, you know, all that silliness. And then she, you know, pulls down her shirt, slightly sprays her cleavage, and then she's like, she's about to put the cap on, she puts it down and pulls her panties forward and sprays her hoo-ha. And then, we don't really see her die. But she is dead. Then we got Josh and Samantha, or I think her name is. Jeff and Samantha are upstairs. Boingy, 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 boingy. Yeah. All of a sudden they're done, and we see Jason grab like a spear type looking deal that he just stabs them both. Stabs like Jeff through the back, and it like I guess punctures through Samantha, and well, they're dead that way. A lot of people die. The moral of the story is Jeannie is the survivor. She finds this shack that the police officer finds because he sees Jason in the woods and he starts chasing him down because he thinks it's somebody from the camp. The officer gets whacked in the head with a hammer. Not by the flat end, look end. And like all these different scenes happen. Well, guys, I can't tell you the whole movie. Jeannie is the one that survives. She goes into this room where we see the severed head of Mrs. Voorhees and the machete that did it, and the sweater that she wore. So that just kind of makes me think Jason took the shirt off of his dead mother. Weird. Alright, so Jeannie puts the sweater on, and Jason comes into the room, and she goes, Jason, mother is very, you're done, Jason. Mother is very pleased. And Jason is like seeing Betsy Palmer, who played Mrs. Voorhees in the first movie. He's seeing her face and all that stuff. And then she's about to whale him with the machete. I'm sorry. She's about to whack him with the machete. Then he slightly looks over and sees the decapitated head of his mom, and he takes his pickaxe and slashes her leg. And then Paul shows up. Paul is like the boss, or her ex-lover, or whatever the hell they are. It's confusing. They do it in the movie somehow. Then they're fighting, and then she just takes the machete and whacks him in the arm, and just like, oh, looks like he passes it. Looks like she kills him, but then it cuts to where they're in one of the shacks, and she's like got a big laceration on her leg, and then all of a sudden there's something at like pushing on the door, and one of the counselors had a little dog, like a terrier or something, and the dog comes in, and the genie is like muffin or something, whatever it is, and all of a sudden we just see Jason come to the window and going, unmasking everything. He got hair, like clumps of hair, and this like big bulging side right here. And he's just trying to pull her out, and then fade to white, and all of a sudden we see like sunshine and stuff like that, and she's getting loaded up on a gurney in the ambulance, but she's conscious, and she's asking where Paul is and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden it zooms in on Mrs. Voorhees' head. Rumor says that the actual ending of part 2 was supposed to have Mrs. Voorhees' eyes open up for like one more jump scare or something like that. Guys, this has been Tank Talks Friday the 13th Part 2, and stay tuned to next time for next Friday the 13th for Part 3. I've been Tank, this has been Tank Talks Movies, and later, y'all.